Hi, this is Schadt, CEO of DoubleHorn. Today I'm joined by David Fuess, CEO of Catapult Systems. How are you, David?
I'm doing great.
Thanks for being here.
Great to be here. Thank you very much.
Good. Before we jump into Catapult and strategy and leadership, tell us a little bit about your background and how you ended up CEO of Catapult.
Sure. I played football in college, and probably like most football players, I had no earthly idea what I wanted to do when I got out of college. I thought I might be playing on Sunday afternoons, and that didn't work out. And so I came home and started interviewing for jobs, and my very first job was in sales. Yeah. And so I worked my way up in sales for a few years and then transferred into the IT industry and into the consulting side of things, and started in sales until one day my manager got fired and he was running the whole operation, and I was given the keys to the office, so to speak.
Unfortunate, but fortunate for you.
I guess so. That's how it worked out.
What position? Football, I have
So
to ask.
I was a place kicker in college.
All right.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Good, good. Tell us about Catapult.
So we used to be an IT consulting company. We're based here in Austin, but we've really transformed our business over the last several years. Today I would call us a global solutions provider based on the Microsoft platform. We do a lot of IP-led managed services, so we're using Microsoft's technology, building pseudo products for our customers and then giving them to them with a managed service charge or a tail on the backside of those. It's really about commoditizing the digital transformation for our customers.
Yeah. Is it just for Microsoft products?
It is. That's one of the things that makes us unique, is we're a Microsoft-only provider, and so we don't do things on the Amazon cloud or on the Google cloud or IBM. It's all Microsoft. What
are the most, would you say, burgeoning pieces of your portfolio? I mean, in my research, you got analytics, you got the transformation, and you have various. What areas would you say are the hottest right now?
Well, what's interesting is, and most people think of Microsoft as products. You're probably expecting me to answer the question with SQL Server or Exchange or something like that. Yeah. Azure actually would be the part of our business that's growing the fastest, which is cloud.
Yeah.
And that's really essentially the platform. So we're building solutions for customers using Microsoft products, but using all of them and putting them into the cloud and onto Azure for our customers. And by far, our Azure business is the fastest growing element of our business.
That's awesome. What's the organization? How's it set up, like in terms of organizational structure?
So we have 8 offices across the U.S. In fact, we're in the process of going global as we speak. We have an office in Latin America in Mexico City.
Wow.
And we are just about to start up another office as well, probably in Western Europe. Within those offices, we have general managers that usually will run 2, maybe 3 offices at a time. And so it's structured by a regional P&L. Okay. And then here in Austin, we have all of the back office functions, all the accounting, marketing, et cetera.
Yeah. Austin being headquarters.
Austin's the headquarters.
Yeah.
Good place.
Yeah, a good place to be headquarters.
It sure is.
Yeah. I want to jump into some leadership and management style questions.
Sure.
I've had the pleasure of interviewing a lot of great people over the last several months and get different perspectives around leadership, what it means to them, how they cultivate leaders if they identify one. Let's talk about your style. I mean, from a leadership, you have iron fist type folks, and you've got real passive aggressive folks. You've got people that are just open books. Tell us about your style.
Well, I would say if I had to choose from the 3 that you described,
we don't have to. You can have a 4th.
The 3rd would probably be the one that would be most like me. I have an executive team of 10 people, and they wouldn't be on that team unless they brought some unique value to the company and to that group. Fundamentally, the way I feel about things as a manager is if you and I agree on everything, one of us isn't necessary. Yeah. And so, I'm interested in the things that you would do better, differently. Yeah. I'm more interested in robust dialogue around an idea rather than whose idea it is really is irrelevant. Yeah. So I try to create a culture where people can challenge. Everyone knows they can challenge me. No one's ever going to get in trouble. Yeah. In fact, if they don't challenge me on these things, I would wonder if they're listening.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Yeah.
And I'm not perfect by any stretch. I don't pretend. I don't try to be perfect. Yeah. But I just think if we were, in a room, everybody has something to add to that discussion, and I really try to draw that out of people.
How do you approach when you see an employee team member that you believe really has something special, and you want to put, is it a special approach or a program you would put around that person to really get the most out of them, to maybe cultivate them into a leader?
Well, It's a really good question. I actually believe leaders should do that for everybody.
Yeah.
I think everybody has more to offer than even they think they have. And so
Right.
as leaders, as myself leading my executive team, but them leading their people,
Yeah.
I think we should always be trying to get that extra 20, 25% that someone has to offer. Now, you do run across gems, and I think that's what your question
Yeah,
is. Saying,
exactly.
hey, this is a future, you name the position in the company. And typically we do identify them, and then we put some special programs, special training in place
Yeah.
for them, give them some mentorship. I've personally had several folks that I've mentored throughout the years. At the moment, I don't have someone under my watch, so to speak, but
Right.
I will when we identify those kinds of people. It's hard finding leaders of leaders.
Yes, it is.
And it's most organizations struggle with it. And so when you run across people like that, it's important to cultivate it.
I always say that the technology is not the difficult part; it's the people.
No
It's
question.
no question about it. What about yourself? Where do you find who challenges you? I mean, where are your mentors? I mean, because I think a lot of people think, well, they've got it figured out at a certain level.
Yeah.
And we both know that's not the case.
No.
You never have it all figured out. How do you go about getting that mentorship to provide back to you?
I follow a few authors, people that generally people I have known personally that also are authors that I respect. I subscribe to the philosophy of lifelong learning, L3, and so if I ever stop learning, I think I would rather be dead. And so I think I can learn something new every single day.
Yeah.
I do read a lot, but it's mostly I've identified a few people that I have a lot of respect for, who are very thoughtful, not just about business, about life,
Yeah.
and I try to incorporate that into what I do.
Let's shift to strategy. Talk about growth strategies for Catapult. And I'd like to ask that from two perspectives. One, what are they? As you look about growing, not only just from a geography standpoint, but actually, growing the revenue or customer base. And then how you go about formulating and rolling out strategy. I think that goes hand in hand with leadership. And,
It does.
Yeah.
Well, I mentioned that we've transformed our business over the last 4 years. Naturally, as a CEO, I've had to lead us through that. And as I mentioned, my style, everyone's had their fingerprints on it.
Right.
But someone does have to lead through that. And we will continue on a transformational path for as long as I can see. And so it's not going to stop. We are growing globally right now. We're in the process of doing some merger and acquisition work as we speak. So we're going to be buying at least one, probably 2 or 3 companies.
So it's an organic and inorganic strategy.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. We'll add to the service offerings that we have to fill in a couple of gaps that we have, and then put those things together and then take them globally. That's the idea. And so we will be serving everywhere, including China, everywhere in the world.
Yeah. Well, talk about rolling that out. So, you got your leaders, you got your managers, general managers, your team, right?
Yep.
How do you get everybody on board, get them committed? And then what I find the most challenging thing is focused. Because there's so many distractions, especially when, transformation just comes with distractions, right?
I have a term for it. I like to affectionately call it, you got to be on all the time.
Yeah.
You have to be on all the time
Yeah.
if you're awake. And so what that means is you are selling to your people without overtly selling to them all the time, influencing them.
Yes.
And it's a reminder of the vision on a regular basis, trying to approach it from different angles. It takes a while for people to absorb it. First of all, it takes a while for them to realize that you're serious. That's
Right.
the first test, because
Yeah.
they say, okay, a leader can say, we're going to go in a slightly different direction. Well, they don't believe you're actually going to go in that direction until they see you going
Well,
there
you're going to have
first.
to commit first, right?
You go there first,
Yeah, that's right.
and then you have to kind of bring them along,
Yeah.
and ultimately you need them walking out right alongside of you, if not out in front of
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
And so it's a process, and so it takes a lot of energy. It can be very taxing, but you have to turn it on every day and bring it and cast the vision. Sometimes in small bites that people can see, just the next step. And with other people, you need to be able to paint the picture, multi-years out.
Right.
And it just depends on the person, and it depends on the kind of role that they serve in the company. But it's a constant vision casting, and where they fit in the vision is equally important.
what would you say is the biggest challenge in your current role? As a CEO, when we talk about strategy, rolling strategies out, taking people off the table, because I think we're both in agreement that one's always going to rank up there.
Yeah. You know, probably the number one challenge is what I have a term for it. I don't know if I borrowed it along the way or not, so I don't know who to footnote, but it's eating and dreaming. And so eating is, we have to make money. It's the oxygen of the company. It's how we pay our employees. It's how we pay for the benefits. That's how we can pay for our new strategies. That's eating. But you have to be dreaming at the same time. And dreaming also is expensive. It also takes time and energy. And so the balance between running the day-to-day business and just executing on the things that need to be executed in our existing portfolio and our existing customers, at the same time planning for a year out and 2 and 3 years out. Because you have to place your bets and some money and investments in people and time and energy towards that as well. Yeah. Striking the right balance there is a daily thing. Because if you put too much focus on one or the other one's going to suffer. And we have to do both.
Yeah. I skipped over a question. I want to kind of go back, just so I apologize, but back to you growing and transforming in your kind of a 5-year plan, 3-year plan. Who are the competitors out there? You know, you obviously got the big brother on your side, right? I mean, Microsoft, right? You've got your plan, you've got your strategies. What's the competitive landscape look like? And do you think that landscape looks a lot different in 3 to 5 years? Or is it just going to be, you know, similar companies? Or do you think through M&A activity you start to remove certain competitors?
Very simple to ask a question, very complex to answer that question. There are what I would call traditional competitors, meaning they're competing with the eating portion of our business. They're ones that 5 years ago I would have called them a competitor, and today I would still call them a competitor, but only on a portion of our business. The areas where we're dreaming and making investments, and we already have customers now on the dreaming part of our business. It's an entirely new set of competitors, and in some cases, those haven't even come to fruition yet. We came out with a solution 4 years ago. We were the first one to market with it. The name of it's Fuess. It's an intranet built on a cloud, IP-led managed services. There were 0 competitors in the market. Today there's 50. And so these are 50 companies that have come out of nowhere and now are competing with us for the same pie. And some are they're all over the globe. And we now have 9 or 10 of these solutions, and with each one, we would identify a different set of competitors. And there's both a service competitor sometimes, there's a platform competitor sometimes. So it's very complex.
Yeah, that is. It's interesting because through your own innovation, you're actually causing new competitors. You know,
we are.
Yeah.
You know, it's a big vision. It's a bold vision. We want to commoditize the digital transformation for our customers. And that sounds really bold, but we're doing it. And it's really exciting to see our people grabbing a hold of it and recognize we're doing something that really hasn't been done before.
That's awesome. Let's talk about your up-and-coming book.
Sure.
Yeah, tell us about it.
Well, you know, I mentioned that I started off in sales, so sales has always been kind of a passion of mine, and I think any CEO would tell you they're still in sales, regardless of your title. And you know what I realized, I spent 15 years legitimately carrying a bag with a sales title. And I realized that, you know, the profession itself has a black eye. You know, people don't view sales as a profession, really. And they don't view sales people in a positive light many times.
I would agree.
And what's interesting and counterintuitive is it's one of the higher paying professions out there if you're good at it. It does deserve its black eye, or it does deserve its its lack of respect in many cases, but it's the person who's doing the job. It's whether they do it in a professional manner or a non-professional manner. None of us like to be sold cars. None of us like to be sold.
Well, that's the moniker it really carries, though.
Yeah,
it's
or
the used
life
car
insurance,
salesman, or the encyclopedia salesman, or something like that.
Exactly. Now, the approach that they take is a feature benefit. You know, it can be a little pushy. It's not really a consultative sale. The book really is about giving the reader some new ideas on how to approach their craft whether you're overtly in sales or just indirectly in sales, in a way that the person who's being sold to doesn't feel like they're being sold to. In fact, what they're ultimately going to buy was their idea. So it turns the concept inside out. I'm just helping you understand your idea, fall in love with your idea, and then actually take action on your idea. And you're going to be with you all the time, so you can constantly reinforce your idea. I'm only going to be there every once in a while.
Leave the customer in control, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And never take credit for it. So it's an egoless sale. You will walk away from that if you bought something from me, but if it was your idea, you'll walk away feeling very good about it, as opposed to this guy just sold me something.
Is this your first book?
It is my first book.
Tell us about the experience.
It's a little frightening. It's put it out there and realize people are going to read it, and you send it to friends and family first, and they do the preview reads, and starting to get some of the reviews back now. And with each one that I open, your heart starts to race a little bit. It's like, oh my gosh, this is my mom reviewing my book.
But you're only as good as that feedback, though. I mean, you have to have it, But yeah, it's probably pretty intimidating at first, I would imagine.
Very, very much so. It's been fun. It's been exhilarating. It's been difficult. It's been time consuming.
Right.
I'm really glad it's behind me. And now let's see what happens.
What was the number one reason that you decided to do it?
Well,
you had to look at it and say, this is not a small project.
It's not. It was a big project. Well, I mentioned that our vision is bold. And so there's one thing to get our employees excited about it, but we actually need customers to get excited about it. We need the marketplace to get excited about it. And there's a variety of things you can do from a marketing perspective to get your name out there and how you get your sales force educated on it. But we thought a book would be another good mechanism for doing that. But rather than go head on and say, here, look at what Catapult's doing to change our industry, we took a little bit different path into it, which is a concept that around selling that I feel very passionate about, and then relate it to where we're going as a company. So there's a better story that way.
It's a great idea. Well, I enjoyed having you today. It's been fantastic. Thanks for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you at our next C-Level Chat.